29-year-old standing before the world number one without a flinching hand. When Rafael Jodar entered the press room after his victory to reach the Madrid Open quarterfinals, the atmosphere in the room carried a special hue. It wasn't just because he had won a difficult match. It was because the very next day, at the age of 19, this teenager from Madrid would have to face Jannik Sinner, the world number one, right in his own backyard. The first question journalists asked wasn't about tactics or physical fitness. It was a question about psychology. How could a 19-year-old playing for the first time in front of thousands of hometown fans before giant lenses and massive pressure look so calm? Jodar's answer wasn't grandstanding or false modesty. It was incredibly simple. I think you just have to go step by step, match by match. That is the most important thing. Not thinking about the future, living in the present, and doing your best in the match you are playing. That is one of the keys to performing well. These were not the words of a child trying to memorize the right answer to please the press. This is a philosophy put into practice, demonstrated through every step he has taken on the courts in Madrid over the past few weeks. More notable is how Jodar handles bad matches. He said, "Of course, there will be times when you don't play well, but in those moments, the important thing is to maintain the same mindset as in the matches where you play better." These were not the words of a child trying to memorize the right answer to please the press. This is a philosophy put into practice, demonstrated through every step he has taken on the courts in Madrid over the past few weeks. More notable is how Jodar handles bad matches. He said, "Of course, there will be times when you don't play well, but in those moments, the important thing is to maintain the same mindset as in the matches where you play better." This is nothing extraordinary about this statement, except for the fact that not everyone can actually do it, including those who have played professionally for decades. And this is exactly the beginning of a tennis story you shouldn't miss. If you want to follow more deeply the performances and the mindset of the next generation in world tennis, subscribe to the Tennis Insider channel to stay updated with analyses like this. When Jannik Sinner comes to watch you play, what Jodar's reaction reveals. There was a detail in the press conference that, when mentioned, seemed to capture the entire room's attention. Jannik Sinner, the world number one and reigning Australian Open champion, had taken the initiative to watch Rafael Jodar's match live. Not through a screen, not through video analysis. He came to the court, sat in the stands, and observed. This is a rare sight in professional tennis. Players usually don't watch their potential opponents live for many reasons: scheduling, recovery, and especially psychology. You don't want to give your opponent the feeling that you are worried enough to go scouting personally. But Sinner did it, and later, at his own press conference, he said that tomorrow's match with Jodar would be the first of many, and spoke of the 19-year-old Madrid boy with huge respect. When journalists asked Jodar about this, his reaction was fascinating. He didn't puff out his chest. He didn't say things like, "That shows I deserve it." Instead, he simply said, "Jannik is a great player. It will be a really good match. I am very excited to face him for the first time, right here in my hometown." Nothing more, nothing less. This composure from Jodar is not indifference. It is the result of a carefully constructed psychological foundation, a foundation that many young players lack, causing them to either be overwhelmed by the opponent's fame or overreact in the opposite direction by trying to appear arrogant. Jodar didn't need to do anything in those two extremes. He only needed to be himself, a young person doing his job well and ready for the next challenge. What the world number one sees in Jodar and why it matters. When journalists asked Jodar what he liked most about Sinner, whether it was his mindset or a specific technique, his answer contained a very noteworthy observation. Jannik is an all-around great player. You can see it through every match he plays. He is always very focused with a good mindset. I think that helps him a lot in matches. And of course, his forehand and backhand are also very good. What is remarkable here is the order Jodar established. Mindset first, technique second. This is no coincidence. When a 19-year-old who has never faced Sinner head-on is asked about his opponent's strengths, the first thing he chooses to mention isn't the serve speed, the movement, or the famous cross-court forehand. He talks about focus and mindset. This is the perspective of someone who has learned that in elite tennis, every player has excellent technique. What distinguishes the winner from the runner-up often doesn't lie in technique. It lies in the ability to maintain psychological stability under extreme pressure during the most important points of the most important matches. Sinner is the symbol of that in the current generation, and Jodar, at age 19, recognized it and publicly acknowledged it before stepping into the match. This is the kind of self-awareness that sports psychologists take years to convey to young athletes. Jodar seems to have grasped it to some extent naturally, or through a mental formation process that we will continue to explore in the following blocks. Team secret. Just father and son, and why that is a strength. In a world where top players often have large support teams, technical coaches, fitness trainers, psychologists, physiotherapists, data analysts, Jodar's answer about his team was truly surprising. When asked who he was working with, especially on the mental side, Jodar replied briefly, "My team has always been just my father and me. We haven't changed that and won't change it anytime soon. This is something that is working well and I see no reason to change. Just father and son. No private psychologist. No specialized fitness coach. No independent video analyst. Just two people with a relationship and absolute trust in each other." This reflects an interesting trend in tennis. Many young players of the new generation are proving that simplicity and consistency in a team are sometimes more effective than gathering a massive machine of experts. When the team is small, communication is more direct and clear, trust is higher, and most importantly, the competitor is not distracted by too many viewpoints and advice at the same time. Jodar's father, who has followed his son from the first training sessions on clay courts to a Masters 1000 quarterfinal, understands Jodar in a way no hired expert could in a short time. It is an understanding built over thousands of hours, hundreds of wins and losses, through nights of disappointment and mornings of starting over. And that very simple stability, father and son, together, unchanged, might be one of the strongest psychological foundations Jodar has when entering the highest pressure moments of his career. Social media, pressure, and how Jodar keeps his mind clean. One of the greatest challenges facing today's generation of young athletes, something that previous generations like Federer or Sampras never had to handle in the same way, is social media. Thousands of comments, messages, opinions, predictions, and sometimes criticism pour in every day. When asked how he handles the pressure with all eyes on him during his home week, Jodar gave a practical and unpretentious answer. "I try not to look at social media much. I do use my phone to talk to friends and family, but I try to focus on what I need to do, which is playing tennis. I need to separate myself from what is happening around the tournament and the matches. In my free time, I use it to recover." This is surprising wisdom for a 19-year-old. In an era where social media constantly invites attention and validation, the ability to actively filter incoming information is an extremely valuable skill, not just in sports, but in any field that requires deep and continuous focus. Jodar doesn't refuse human connection. He still talks to friends and family, but he distinguishes clearly between meaningful connection, family, close friends, and aimless information consumption, scrolling social media, reading comments. And he consciously protects that boundary. This is a lesson many people, not just athletes, need to learn. Not every piece of information deserves a place in your head, especially during the most critical phases of your work or career. A year in the US and the lesson of proactively turning weakness into strength. There is a detail in Jodar's journey that few know about, but was actually a crucial strategic decision. He spent a year competing in the US, primarily on hard courts, despite his starting point being clay. Last year, I was in the US, and that helped me develop a lot in terms of skills on hard courts, Jodar said. I hadn't played much on hard courts before, and that entire year, I almost only played on hard courts. I think that helped me develop a different style of play that you always need if you want to be among the best. This is the mindset of someone who is not content with what they have. Jodar was naturally strong on clay. It was his foundation, natural and familiar to him since childhood. Proactively going abroad, placing himself in a completely different and unfavorable environment to learn a skill he was weak in. That is the type of courage rarely mentioned, but extremely important in any professional's journey. In sports, as in life, there are two types of growth: vertical growth, deepening strengths, and horizontal growth, expanding into areas where one is still weak. Jodar, at 18 to 19 years old, chose intentional horizontal development, even knowing that during that period, his results wouldn't be as good as if he had continued playing on clay. That was a short-term trade-off for long-term capability. And now, when he can compete competitively on both surfaces, he is harvesting what he sowed. You can't control the conditions, so adapt. During the press conference, a journalist asked Jodar about the possibility of the quarterfinal against Sinner being affected by rain, and whether playing under a roof would change anything in his preparation. Jodar's answer was both practical and carried a clear philosophy. Those are external conditions that you cannot control. They are the same for both people, so just adapt and don't think too much about it. It sounds simple, but think about the number of times in life, in work, in careers, in important projects, that we waste energy worrying, complaining, or trying to change things completely outside our control. The weather, the organizer's decisions, the schedule, the crowd being loud or quiet, the court surface being faster or slower than usual. These are all variables that a player has no power to change, but can choose how to react to. Jodar chooses to react with acceptance and adaptation, not with resistance and complaint. And more importantly, he doesn't just say it, he does it.
Right in that day's match, he had to adjust because he was playing in the late afternoon in Madrid for the first time, when the ball and court conditions were completely different from what he was used to. He admitted the first set was harder partly for that reason, but he adapted and the second set went more smoothly. This is the fast learning loop, identifying new variables, adapting in real time, and adjusting, that the best in any field practice continuously. Preparing for the match. The secret lies in the best version of yourself. When asked about his preparation for matches, whether he analyzes a lot of video, uses statistics, or focuses on a specific opponent, Jodar gave a truly thought-provoking answer. We follow a certain routine every day. There is a bit of opponent analysis, but what I consider most important is that I play well. I feel good on the court, and I show the best version of myself on that day. This is something many people, when preparing for an important competition, often overlook because they are caught up in analyzing the opponent too much. They study the opponent's weaknesses, find ways to exploit gaps, build tactics based on what the opponent cannot do, and forget that the first and most important thing is that they themselves must perform at their best. Jodar understands this order of priority. Opponent analysis is necessary, he doesn't deny that. But it is secondary to ensuring that he plays well himself. Because if he isn't in his best state, then no matter how well he knows the opponent's weaknesses, it won't mean much. Conversely, when he is playing to his potential, confident, focused, and in rhythm, he will naturally create pressure on the opponent, forcing them to deal with what he brings instead of playing according to their plan. This is the philosophy of a true warrior. Control what you can control and do your part of the job best. Bellingham in the stands and the meaning of being watched by giants. There was a small but emotional detail in Jodar's press conference. He noticed that Jude Bellingham, the star midfielder of Real Madrid and one of the most famous football players in the world right now, was sitting in the stands watching him play. I noticed he was watching and didn't have a chance to say hello after the match, but it's very special when athletes and sports players come to watch your match in Madrid. This is a moment worth pausing for. A 19-year-old boy who grew up in Madrid and dreamed of days like this since childhood, now competing in a Masters 1000 on his home court with the city's biggest sports stars watching him. But the interesting thing isn't Bellingham being there. The interesting thing is how Jodar handled it, calmly, gratefully, without being rattled. He didn't try to brag or make it a story about himself. He simply acknowledged it as something very special and continued to focus on the match. When a young person can recognize the value and meaning of such moments without being overwhelmed or losing focus, that is a sign of true emotional maturity. Jodar knows that Bellingham's presence in the stands doesn't make his match easier or harder. It is just part of the special context he is living in, and he is enjoying it fully without letting it affect his main job. Rafael Jodar, a name you will hear many times again. After everything we've just gone through, from how he talks about opponents, to the match-by-match philosophy, to managing pressure and information, to strategic decisions about his team and skill development, one thing becomes clear. Rafael Jodar is not a promising young player in the vague sense often found in sports journalism.
He is a young player with a deliberately constructed mindset system. And in professional tennis, that is rarer than even natural talent. Talent can get you into a Madrid quarterfinal at age 19, but mindset is what determines how long you will stay at the top after that. Tennis history is full of names that once made the whole tennis world buzz and then disappeared. Not for lack of talent, but for lack of the psychological foundation to endure and grow through the unavoidable difficult periods in a long career. Jodar, through this press conference, has shown us extremely positive signs that he might be different. He doesn't say much, he says the right things. He doesn't try to impress, he just answers truthfully. And in every answer, there is a consistency of values and philosophy usually seen only in athletes who have spent years colliding with reality. Jodar's story, a Madrid boy, a team of just father and son, a step-by-step philosophy, no social media, no external pressure, is one of the best tennis stories of this season, and we have only touched the beginning. If you don't want to miss deep analyses of names like Jodar, Sinner, Alcaraz, and the untold stories behind world tennis, subscribe to the Tennis Insider channel today, where tennis is viewed as a lesson in mindset, perseverance, and the path to greatness.